Welcome to the Property Founder Podcast, where we sit down to have conversations with property entrepreneurs to uncover lessons from their story to help guide you in your business journey.
Long story short, her mortgage was £1,000, and I realised that if you rented the property, we can get 2,400 from it, yeah, as a HMO.
Looking at it now, what sort of impact has personal brand had on your property journey?
It's been massive. It's been massive because if you don't put yourself out there, opportunities are harder to come to you.
At that point, did you know what you wanted to do? Was property on the radar?
No, first year, English language, psychology, and sociology. Completely random. Sociology, why did I pick it? Because a lot of the girls were in the class, I'll be honest. I was a project manager. I know that space. That's my unfair advantage. Everyone has an unfair advantage that they can leverage. Certain people are attractive. Certain people are well spoken. Use your unfair advantage to get. It's true. Like everyone is good at something, but you just got to find your power, right?
We're joined today by Kelvin Sillah, previously in the corporate side of property, and transitioned over to property entrepreneurship. So we're going to get into that today, talking a lot more about the creative deals you've done, HMOs, etc. So yeah, thanks for coming down, man. Pleasure to have you on.
Thanks for having me, boys. Good setup here today. So yeah,
Thank you.
happy to be here.
Good.
So I'm Kelvin, based in Manchester, but originally from London. Been in Manny for the last year now, which feels crazy because it's gone so fast. Background, so professional in property, so Chartered Surveyor. Then moved into the world of project management, focusing on office fit outs in London, bank, that kind of space. And then I realized that there's this whole world of residential investing. I've chosen property as my vehicle, as you will say, to hopefully get to financial freedom. It's just what I love, it's what I know. So yeah, I've just been documenting, trying to get that together. And yeah, just in the middle of the journey as we speak.
Not dope. And growing up in London, what was that like?
To be honest, I was blessed because I was always someone that I would say is like in the middle. So when I say in the middle, like I knew friends who were good, followed the books as you wanted them to be, and I knew everything else on the other side.
Yeah.
So I was blessed because where I lived was like between two kind of rival areas, but the school I went to had boys from both schools. So I naturally was just friends with both sides.
That's
diplomatic,
the most diplomatic way of saying that, but it's true.
I literally just played, without knowing it, I played the middle so well.
Yeah.
So I wasn't involved in the roads, but I knew about the roads. So for me, it was fine. Single mother household. Mum did an amazing job, me and my younger brother, to kind of always have food on the table. Didn't ever go without, to be honest. But I always knew that from the age of 17, once I was able to work for myself, drive, if I didn't do it, I probably wouldn't get it. So I've just been independent, got a job very early on, drove from, I think, when I just turned 18, and just been independent from there. So London, I think, has taught me most of my core skills. And yeah, just happy to have grown there and nowhere else, to be honest, because it gets you ready for anywhere in the world, I think. So
of course.
Yeah, very unique experience growing up in inner city London, boy. Well, kind of talk us through the upbringing, right? What was the household dynamic like? I mean, you say that mum did a good job putting food on the table. I guess when did you maybe realize that was a difficult thing to do?
It's funny because more recently, like I've like had to go and I taught myself into therapy and stuff, innit? And a big part of therapy allows you to look back on your childhood, and conversations I would have with my therapist allowed you to then go have conversations with your mum to find out how was I as a child, what did I do? So from these conversations, I realized that my mum and dad broke up when I was 2. And from the age of 2, mum's just been hustling with me. And then several years later, my brother was born. But I think I've always known that obviously dad wasn't around. He was in my life. He wasn't like crazy, but he just wasn't like present. Every now and again I'll see him. So from when I was, I guess, previous memories, probably say primary school, where I was like very independent because mum needed me to be a man sooner than I probably was supposed to be, taking myself to school with the local kids in the area, school trips, just making sure that I'm doing what I need to. And then when my brother was born, because I think we're like a few years apart, I'm 32 now, Aaron's like 28. So I was just making sure he was doing the right thing and being the dad of the house kind of without knowing. When I was in year 11, he came into school at year 7. So he had that big bro and I had to kind of keep him off the roads and stuff. But yeah, London, I think has been fine. Mum just instilled manners, education, big. And although she didn't know I was doing much when I went to uni, she just knew that I should get to uni and find something that I wanted to do. And luckily that was property. So yeah, blessings to mum.
Cool, man. That journey up to university then, what did you study? At that point, did you know what you wanted to do? Was property on the radar?
No, not at all. So I went to sixth form college. I studied English, first year, English language, psychology, religious studies, and sociology. Completely random.
Yeah.
Sociology, why did I pick it? Because a lot of the girls were in the class, I'll be honest. And it involved a lot of debates.
Yeah.
So sociology, I realized, was about life, socio, whatever. So I enjoy sociology. Psychology, not so much, but learn about the mind and different parts of the human. So kind of linked, to be honest. English language, don't know why I picked it, to be honest, but I thought it was English. I could speak English, whatever. Do you know what I mean? Like, obviously, when you're younger, you're not thinking further. So I remember English language, we learned about like babies and the different stages of like when they start speaking, and I found that interesting. And then the other one's religious studies. Again, not sure why I picked it, but I was into theology and all that kind of stuff then. So I thought, let me go into this and see if I wanted to continue. And then I remember when it came to like second year, my form tutor at the time was like, Kelvin, it's time to go to university. Like, what do you want to do? And I always tell the story because like I didn't know what I wanted to do in uni. I didn't even know if I wanted to go to university. But God bless this woman, I'm still trying to find her to this day. She basically was like, I'm going to print off 5 job profiles for you. And we're going to see if any of them resonate. She was like, what kind of field are you interested in? I was like, property, because I always knew I just like property. Homes Under the Hammer, I probably watched it all the time on TV. So I said, yeah. So she printed off. Next day, came back with 5 different job profiles. Project management, architecture, building surveying was one of them, and 2 others, generic jobs. For some reason, building surveying stuck out to me. And we just figured out what unis I can go to do it. And I got the grades and I went just because she printed off that job profile. Bear in mind, my mum didn't know any of these careers because she didn't come from that. So she helped set me up on the path I went to. For those that don't know what a building surveyor is, the way I summarize it is basically a doctor for buildings. So whenever there's a problem with a building, a defect, you'll call a building surveyor. That's just the simplest way. But crazy to know that when I went to uni, I didn't even understand that myself. It wasn't until that second year that I was doing the course that I realized, okay, there's actually a lot of these people doing this in the world. I'm sure you guys can resonate. When you're younger, you only know certain job roles. So when you get into the world, you then realize, okay, there's this engineer, there's this whatever. So yeah, that was a transition from random topics in college to then property. And then once I was on this course, I then realized, okay, there's other stuff, there's this and there's that. And then that's when I went down that path, which I'm so thankful for today, to be honest.
Amazing, because you speak to a lot of people, and I think even everyone we've interviewed so far, or we had a conversation with, they've all said the same thing around that uni time. They've gone to uni or they haven't gone to uni, but they didn't really know what they wanted to do at that age. And it's interesting that, you know, a lot of young people are told to make a decision around 16, 17, 18 about what they want to do in their life. And they're like, I actually have no idea. Because if you think about it, 5 years ago, or 5 years or 10 years prior to that point, they're in primary school, you know, dreaming about doing something or coloring books. And now they're being told, actually, you need to make some life decisions. And they don't really even understand life. And like you said, you've gone to uni, or before you've even gone to uni, you're being exposed to different types of jobs that are out there. But at that point in life, you only know some of the more prominent jobs, like maybe a doctor or a lawyer, you know, a footballer. Maybe as a kid, you wanted to be maybe a fireman or something like that. You know, it's generally, those are the type of jobs that you're exposed to.
I think it's a big point because like if I'm blessed to have kids, I want to do a better job by exposing them to the world and every single role and pushing them to be linked to these roles. And then naturally, as a parent, you'll see what they gravitate into and then you help them on that journey. Whereas obviously my mum, most of our parents, single mothers, even not single mothers, they only know what they know. And they're busy trying to get money in, ends meet with their own problems. So it's important for us coming from these back parents, whatever, to try and do better. Do you know what I mean? So, which I think most of us, our generation, is doing. We're buying houses, we're having nice cars. So it's only going to get better. So
No, 100% agreed. I think it's important to note though how much of an influence parents and teachers have as well. Because even if that teacher didn't put those 5 job roles in front of you, maybe you wouldn't have.
I don't know where I'll be. Like, that's why I need to
Doing what
find
you're doing
her
today.
because I feel like teachers in society, they play such a massive role. You're with them a lot. They probably, I wouldn't say they know you better than your parents, but like after your parents' family, they know you probably just as good. And I was always like the class clown. I've always been that kind of extroverted, silly person in the class, but she knew and saw something in me. And a lot of other teachers probably saw the same thing, but kind of just gave up on me. Whereas she, for some reason, just that one exercise changed the trajectory. I could have gone somewhere else and just been in a way worse position. So yeah, teachers are massive. Like I think it's a very rewarding job. They don't get paid enough, but it's just society in it. So
So then, you were gonna go?
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say in terms of the uni experience. So going through uni, what was your thought process while you're studying this subject?
Were there a lot of girls on the course this time?
no, it's funny. It's funny. This time was the opposite, to be honest. So it was time to lock in. It was time to lock in. So uni. So I was living in London, but I went to a London uni. So I didn't have the experience of living on campus and like finding myself that way. But my degree was pretty chill. First year was like, I think all years it was in 2 days a week, which was typically like a Tuesday and a Wednesday. So it's back to back. And then the first year I kind of like just got by because I was coming from college, having to be serious. And then after that, I realized if I'm gonna do anything with this degree, I need to lock in. I think the second year I didn't do as well as I wanted to. And then I had the option to go on what's called a sandwich year. So you go into industry for 1 year. So I did that. And then that was like a building surveying placement of a company going out. And that actually got me to understand, okay, if I wanted to do this job, this is what it's like. Working in office for the first time and like going out to real buildings. I'm like, I can actually do this. Came back from that second year and I literally just had this hunger that I'm like, I'm going to get this degree done and I'm going to get a job because I knew the kind of money I could climb to. And I've always been someone that wants to be successful and provide. Like, I feel like that's just something that I want to do. So I did that. I literally finished the placement, got a degree. And then when it comes to like applying for grad jobs, you have to apply like 8 months before it comes to the end, like most of them. But I've applied for like all the different applications. I shortlisted them in a spreadsheet a year before. So I knew when it comes to the time, I had the dates that they open and the dates that they close. So I was ready. Going through the process, got one of them. And that's where my corporate career climbed. Was there for a few years, got chartered and yeah, continue from there. So interesting with uni. But I was blessed as well to do a degree that it takes you into a job. Whereas some people do a degree that is no set job at the end of it. And obviously I didn't know that. But again, I was blessed because of this lady. So I'll find her and I'll let you boys know.
If she randomly finds this,
Might see this, yeah.
she might reach out.
Yeah, it's interesting actually because obviously I went back to university 2019 to study a real estate degree, and a lot of the people on my course were in industry, and a lot of their companies had actually paid them to be there. So I guess I got to meet quite a few different people working in the industry. But coming out of university and actually getting a job, what was that like? Kind of starting.
I'll be honest, it was tough. So when I was applying for jobs, I found that I don't know. I just found that like I'll get to like the last stage with a few companies, and for some reason I just missed it. And I think it literally came to the last few companies. I got accepted, and I was like, wow, like thankfully, because if I didn't, I probably would have had to do a job for a year and then wait for the next year of intakes. But once I was in the job, I found that it was like perfect because they know exactly what you've done and they set you up for the career. I just found pretty early that whilst people ahead of me in the company were doing very well and I kind of knew what their salary would be, I knew very early that this wasn't what I wanted to do. And I feel like more recently, now that I'm years ahead, I've realized that that was just one of the paths I could have taken, and I went down the path, but I'm probably just as good, probably even better at other things. And I remember recently I woke up and I was like, because I've been doing YouTube and all the content stuff, I'm like, I like being in front of the camera. Not in like a narcissistic, toxic way, just like I'm not phased by the cameras. So what happens if I want to be a presenter or like acting? So it just makes your mind think like you're not boxed to any one sector, subject. So if anyone's watching this and you think I'm going down a path, you can do other things. Like,
I'd actually see you as a really good presenter, actually.
I'll try,
Come
man.
to think of it now. Like,
I think I like to do it, but I don't know how to get into it. And I feel like that's another thing with a lot of people. They want to do things, but they don't know how to get into them. So I don't know. Like,
We talk about who, not how, though, right? Sometimes
True,
it's not about
yeah.
figuring out the how, it's finding the who.
yeah.
100%.
So it's just about networking and figuring
I
out.
think even the way that I came across you, so how we're even sitting here today is I found your content on YouTube. I really enjoyed it in terms of the way that it was put together, the way that you presented on camera. Reached out to you and said, hey, really like what you're doing. Let's meet up. You showed me around a HMO that you completed. And that's how we built that relationship. So just off the back of that, I guess someone bought into.
Yeah. And I think even funny you mentioned that, like, I started doing content to document and not to show off or whatever. So when anyone drops a comment or reaches out, it's like, I'm doing it for you guys. So when you reached out and said, I was like, calm down, lad. Let's talk, because that's what it's for. It's not for, hey, I'm this guy doing property, you can't do this. It's like everyone. Do you know what I mean? Because you get some people like that. It's like, I'm flexing in my car. No, we're all trying to be better. We've all got families to feed. Let's link up. Let's help each other. That's what I'm about. So, and I feel like if anyone wants to put themselves out there, it's a bit nervous, a bit cringy. We were saying before, but do it, because you only get better from doing it and connect to people. I wouldn't have known Ross probably if it wasn't for that. Now I consider him my boy. Do you know what I mean? So we met up to do football and other stuff. So yeah, man, it's been blessing.
You got to do the reps, man. I'm a big believer in that, and you start from somewhere. So speaking of starting, so you started in property, so you building a career, and then fast forward, Ross mentioned the HMO property that he came down to see. How did that come about?
Okay, so from working in industry, I came across like property events, like networking events, PIN, the likes of those. I went to a few of those, realized there's people out there doing great things and they're not doing it for a company. Obviously, I was on salary. I go out, work my ass off, get the same check at the end of the month. I was thinking, if I put the same effort into something that's mine, what does that look like? So then I came across this fantastic model called HMOs. And I was like, hold on, you can have a house and you can actually like make more money from the same house as opposed to a single let. So then I put together a little business plan and basically presented it to my mum. No word ever lie. As a mum, we live in Bermondsey, not too far from London Bridge, SC16. There's probably about 4 universities from us. The tube is literally 1 stop from London Bridge and a few stops from Bond Street. We can make money from this. She was like, oh, what are you talking about? At the time, she had a mortgage and she only bought her flat because one of her friends from work told her to buy her council house. Apart from that, she never would have bought it. She had no plans to buy property, whatever. Got a discount from the council, was going through that motion. Long story short, her mortgage was £1,000. And I realized that if she rented the property, we can get 2,400 from it, yeah, as a HMO. So I was like, okay, quick maths. 2,400, take away the 1,000, it leaves 1,400 left. What could we do with the 1,400? I then said, okay, we probably could rent somewhere else. So that obviously we need somewhere to live, right? Did that. did the numbers, realized we can rent another 2-3 bedroom house for like 800, 900, and there's still some change left. So I presented it to my mom. First year, she shut me down. Yeah. She shut me down. I'm thinking, yeah, I'm going to be this person. I can post property content online. I can have my first projects online. She shut me down. Went back to work. And then I think it came to a point where she was under some financial difficulty where it was just getting tighter on the months. And I said to her, I did tell you about this idea we could do. I even got estate agents, I think the next year, independently when she was at work, I got them to come in and basically give me like paperwork to say the numbers. Anyway, after a year, maybe 2 years of persuading her, she said, let's do it. So I got an agent round, took the sofa out of the living room, put a bed in the living room, and literally rented it out to 4 students. And we ran that for 5 years. And the model, the income, the quality of life, I was like, I need more of these. Mum was loving it. She didn't have to pay any mortgage. And like we went somewhere else, the rent was paid for, we just split in the bills. It allowed me to save, allowed her to save. It was like, whoa, like this is different. So we had to sell the flat because the council were doing work to the block and they give everyone who's leaseholders service charge. It was stupid. To do the roof, charge you 20K. Do the bloody lifts, maintenance, 40K, and just add it to your mortgage. So I was like, it's not making sense. So basically, because we had the property and the service charge was going crazy, we just decided that we had to sell it. So I advised mum to sell the property. And I got an agent locally, first offer accepted. We sold that. And I realized that we probably had a pot of, let's say, I'm going to say 80K after paying off the mortgage that we had to work with. Mum was open to investing in property. And I realized that money wouldn't do much in London. So I got educated, paid for a course, 6-month program, and it was specific on co-living and like HMO. And what the blessing was, because I had the capital ready to go, and I think at the time I was self-employed, I also decided to just do what the coach was saying week by week. So the first week was like finding an investment area, gold mine area, done that. Second week is like when you found your patch, go and meet estate agents, doing these things. So I was literally taking information the next few days, go into Manchester, which was one of my potential patches. And it just allowed me to kind of get momentum and come back to every call with something to report on. And that's how I found the first deal, which is the one you came on saw. And the process with that was kind of long because driving to Manchester, somewhere I've only been for like nights out with some of the boys. But now I'm like on the streets and trying to figure out like where's Salford and where's Oldham and like all these different places. So heavily networking was important. And that's what started the journey of like the residential investing, buying, back to brick, building. And that's where everything else just started. So
that's a great story, man.
Yeah.
But what lit the spark? Because obviously, I love looking at patterns and trends and environments and so on, just to kind of almost paint the picture.
Yeah.
But it doesn't seem like there was anyone there that had like this entrepreneurial. Where did that inspiration come from to embark on?
It's funny because one thing I must say is that my friendship group in London, we have a group of boys and girls, and we started literally just meeting up to just talk about life. It then became like an accountability group, and we actually called it Rich Gang because we realized that everyone here eventually is going to be rich, right?
Yeah.
So I launched a business in that group, which was a photo booth business, because I went to a wedding one time and my cousin got married. The photo booth there was rubbish, but she told me what they charged. And I was like, if they can charge that for the service they provided, I'm going to do it. And I think at the time I was looking for something extra because I realized this 9-to-5 thing is not for me. Launched a photo booth business. And through being maybe in that space, ideation, finding manufacturers, branding, getting bookings, I realized if you got an idea and you put the work in, you can get to where you need to get to. So, and also with this group, other people, like one of the girls in there, she like makes wedding dresses. Another guy, he wanted to open like CBD gummies. Another guy does finance. So like everyone does different things, but we all hold each other accountable, and next month come back and say, what was you meant to do last month and what are you this month? So that was a massive part of it. And I think the rest of it is just me knowing where I am. I want more. That's not from mum. That's just, I don't know how. It's just been there. So property was like the thing I said I'm going to do to get out of the hole.
I think that's so key. Like having a group of friends, because really, I guess it stems back from that, is having a group of friends that are all chasing something bigger.
Yeah,
is definitely important. So yeah, that's key. Talk us through the project though, because I came to see the finished product, and I have to say, amazing job. Like I think it was very, very clean. Talk us through that stage, managing it from London, builders on site. Like, yeah, what did it look like?
Okay, so we'll call it Project Springfield. To begin with, the whole thing was stress for the first 12 months. Reason I say that is when I put the offer in to when I got the keys was literally 12 months, yeah? So the reason it took 12 months was because the property, one, was unregistered with Land Registry, something I never knew about before that happened. And secondly, it was probate. So the people who owned it have only ever lived in it, couple, I think they both died, right? That probate had to go through. And on top of that, the property was unknown to Land Registry. So their title deeds and stuff was in some archive somewhere in some Santander bank. So they had to sort out a probate first off, then get the title deeds from these archives. And basically it was just a complete nightmare. Should I pause? Basically it was a complete nightmare. So once that process took whatever it took, I then used the money that I had from mum as a deposit, but then I had a broker who was recommended from my builder at the time, who, let's say it nicely, didn't do the best job and basically made me move from getting development finance to fund the build to then saying that I needed to find the refurb money myself. So that put me under serious pressure because I went from having the money to do the deal end to end to then having the money to get into the deal and probably pay for the first few things as part of the build. So I then come across this world of raising finance and never done it before, had to raise about 100K and it was go time because I was already in conveyancing, I already spent money. So I was like, it is what it is. I will come to that. I'm sure you guys will ask me that question, but in terms of the build, once I think I got the keys, I had not raised the money. So I just knew that somehow, some way, this is going to have to happen. But because I had done the HMO in London, I knew this is the life I wanted. So I was really putting pressure on myself. And it just had to happen. When it came to the build itself was smooth. Through my networking coming to Manchester, I found different people that recommended builders. From being a project manager, I knew how to vet them. I went to see their projects. I saw how they work with communication. I chose my guy. On site, he would send me video walkthroughs, WhatsApp messages when I was in London, and he was used to doing that kind of project management side of things. I wanted to be close to it because whilst I have professional experience in a corporate space, not so much in like bricks and mortar, because I'm dealing with like, I don't know, stuff like this, just commercial buildings and not like bricks and chimneys and that kind of stuff. So I wanted to be close to it, but I had a 9 to 5. So it was a stressful thing to kind of try and be present at the same time, put even more pressure on trying to document it on YouTube. So I need to be there for certain pivotal parts to then tell a story. So to answer your question, it was a complete nightmare to project manage it.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed leaving London completely on my own for just more and not knowing what's going to come from that. It was stressful, but it built me in another layer that I didn't know I probably had. And they say your first deal probably is your most stressful. I learned so much from it. And I'm just so thankful that I raised 100K. I paid all the investors back on time, some even early. And I was able to have a finished product, document it through the YouTube, and have people just say, you know what, well done. Because all I wanted to do was proof of concept.
Yeah.
So it's very nerve-wracking, like doing something like that on your own, no business partner, just motivation, just grit. Do you know what I mean? So
No, of course.
yeah, it was tough, I'll be honest.
So I probably wanted to talk through, well, we're going to talk about the raising finance part, but I think 12 months to complete, did that actually make the deal, like the numbers work better in your favor? Because again, a market's potentially growing, right? Going up. And then also the fact of having development finance laid out first, where I guess for anyone that doesn't know, you get a funder to fund the purchase and the build, or part of the purchase and the build, to then having to fund the build entirely by yourself. Didn't that make it a better deal for you in terms of like the back end, right?
Yeah, it did. Obviously, when I get that initial shock, I'm not thinking that. Yeah. So in hindsight, it did.
Yeah.
And I'm happy that I had to go through this to raise the money to kind of do whatever. But I feel like, what was your question again? Sorry.
So in terms of the raising finance process, and then also 12 months, did the deal actually work in your favor?
Yeah, it did. Sorry. So
delay?
that was it. So because it took 12 months, I was able to renegotiate the price that I was buying it for, which helped. And then there was also a roof issue during the conveyancing period because the house was empty, right? So they didn't know part of it was leaking in. So I basically told them to not do anything to the property, but I'm going to take X amount off, which helped bring the price down. And my builder knew it was just some slip slates, but we took advantage there how we could. So yes, and I think the way it landed, the time it landed was probably a better time for me in my life. So there's a saying I go about, like when you plan, God laughs. So like you think today you're gonna do something, but there's a higher being that's like, okay, you're not in control. Like shut up. You want it today, it's gonna happen 12 months because you're gonna be better ready then. So that's now that process happened, and most things in my life now I kind of let go. And if I'm going to be this big YouTuber, it will happen. If I want to be this big property developer, it will happen. If I want to be a dad, it will happen. It's just when it's meant to happen. So yeah, that's literally what I take from these stressful periods, to be honest.
And then the raising finance process, what did that look like?
Raising finance is a skill. It's something that everyone can do. You just have to use your unfair advantage. So when I say unfair advantage, is every single one of us is unique in our own way. So you might come from a finance background, you might have specific experience in a specific project, only you have. My unfair advantage is that I work in property. I've studied property for several years. I was a project manager. I know that space. That's my unfair advantage. Everyone has an unfair advantage that they can leverage. Certain people are attractive. Certain people are well-spoken. Use your unfair advantage to get it's true. Like it's true, everyone is good at something, but you just got to find your power, right? So why I say that is when it comes to raising finance, I was able to leverage my corporate experience to say, whilst I've not done bills like this, I've done bills where the contract value is like 50 million, or I've been involved in projects where I've fully managed whole office floor, rejig, here's it before and after. So people know that I know what I'm doing, and if I'm making this transaction, I'm able to use those skills into this project. So I literally just made a list, basic spreadsheet, who is in my life that knows I'm doing property, put those people into a group, different groups, and then one by one sent them a similar message. And basically just tried. I'm doing this thing. I'm able to offer you some interest. Are you interested? One person said to me, yes, 25K. I was shocked. And then he came back and said, he wants to put 50. And I thought, wow, I only need to raise, I think the build was like 93 or something. I need to raise 40. I can do the rest. So that's what gave me the confidence to go into the project and do it. Did I do it the right way? Absolutely not. Gave people crazy interest, numbers I don't even want to talk about on the pod. But it was because I looked at the numbers and it could do it. If I do it now, I wouldn't give away so much interest. But again, the first project was just proof of concept. Can I find something, stack it, put the team together, come to the end? So standard stuff, raised money for a 12-month period, contracts, loan agreements, loans with a limited company, personal guarantee. If I'm late, there's a charge. Updating everyone monthly through the build. I was doing YouTube stuff, so I'll send that to them. And everyone just supporting me more than the project. So like, we know you wanted to do this. You've been documenting my corporate stuff on my socials. We're backing you. And that was the most powerful thing, to know people just believe in what you're doing. And on top of that, my mum, right? Because she put the deposit money in. She came to the house once. I was doing my younger brother as well. But it was like me proving myself to the world. I'm taking people's big money. Like, someone's giving me 50K. Like, if this goes wrong, I'm in trouble. Like, it could be a few years.
True.
So I had to know what I'm doing and make sure it works. Yeah. So now I'm raising finance, just raised some money recently. It's been a lot easier, but I still feel like I'm not an expert at doing it.
Yeah.
But I want to get better, and that's why I'm documenting, to try and show people that, like, I'm doing this. I'm trying to be better. So
that's good. You got the student mindset, which is great. And I mean, that's a great story. There's a great lesson in that. I think one of the main things I've taken is that the first deal, because usually most people want it to be like the one that makes me millions, and you know, you get the best terms. It could. But I found, anyway, in my own journeys, like I guess stories I've heard from other people around me, is that first deal is more about the lesson and the takeaways. Exactly. That you're going to use, that you can then apply later on down the line.
100%.
You know, when you're maybe younger, you're quite short-sighted and you probably want everything now. It's only later on in life, when you look at things in hindsight, you start to realize, oh, that actually makes sense. This is something that I learned here that seemed insignificant at the time.
Transferable skills, man.
But now it applies. And funny enough, that was one of my motivations being in a corporate career, was I only wanted to work in spaces where I could pick up transferable skills.
Yeah.
Because now it actually helps us in the way we carry out our business. There's certain things I say that I learned through doing sales in tech that I now apply in property. And I hear landlords or investors say, oh yeah, that makes sense. And I'm like, I only knew that because I was in this space.
It's funny using that example. So one of my earliest jobs and probably longest standing was working in Waitrose, right? And it was in Marylebone, so literally just behind Bond Street. And that branch specifically, Waitrose as a company is different to like Sainsbury's, Tesco. If you come up to me and I'm on the shop floor and you say, excuse me, where's the cereal? I need to go to the aisle, pick up the cereal and hand it to you. And I need to say, is there anything else you would like? And if you keep asking me for anything else, I need to keep helping you. And that level of customer service, as opposed to Tesco, it's aisle 7, bottom row.
Yeah, it's different.
It kind of put something into me, customer service, how to speak to people. And it's something that you, like, when you're doing it, you don't really think about it. But like, I find people say, oh, you're so well spoken, you're mannered. It's like, I used to work in Marylebone. The people that came in, the stuff that the food shops that they do, it's like, these people are from money, and I wasn't from money. So when I'm around these people, I'm seeing, okay, I'm around a different bracket. If I was investing in property now in that job, I'll be raising money. I'll be raising money, because you have the regulars, you have the customers, you help them in their bags, they give you little tips. And I was working on meat and fish counter at one point. And again, there's probably transferable skills I've taken from that, obviously probably cooking related, that I still use without knowing it today. So everyone, any experience, any negative thing, soak it up, because life is long, man.
It's like being in Reese. You talk about retail. I remember we used to love Reese. I think you still love Reese.
I worked in Reese. No, I still love Reese. Most of my stuff is Reese. But yeah, I worked in 3 different Reeses, but it was Islington, Knightsbridge, and Highgate. Yeah. So it was like different kind of person coming in. And also my missus used to work for Waitrose. So yeah, interesting in terms of knowing your experience. So I guess moving on in terms of after that project. So that project's complete now. You've created your first ever HMO. Where was your mind at after that?
I think I finished the project, let's say October, November last year, and I realized I need a break. So I went to Thailand. Thailand, somewhere that I went to when I finished uni before I started my grad job, and I felt like it was like a happy place for me. So because the year was stressful, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go back to Thailand. I flew out on the 27th. and I wanted to do like the full moon parties and just go crazy, to be honest. And I was solo, so I was like, I can do it.
Yeah.
So I did that, went to the full moon party island, I forgot what it's called now, Kominang, whatever. And then what I realized, what I realized is that once the full moon party is finished, i.e. on the 1st of Jan, everyone leaves the island to go away. But you see that it's just a normal, quiet island. So what I decided to do was just stay on the island. I had a little hut on the beach and I just chilled. And that was like my happy place. I was thinking, wow, like a few days ago, this island was havoc. Like people setting up stools, people vomiting everywhere. Like it was mad. But then now they're gone, you just see the beauty in the place. So that piece allowed me to have like a reset, figuring out what I wanted to do this year. And I think I got back, I was doing a job at the time in Manchester and I moved up last year, July. So I came back and I basically decided to just take it easy. I knew I wanted to do 2 projects this year. That was my goal. But I didn't know how that would look, if I could raise the money. Came back, started trying to find properties, and I realized the HMO market in Manchester is aggressive. Like I'm posting properties, Ross is telling me I view that. Like, and it's real because obviously we're all developers, are all looking for deals. We're all in the same smaller town, Greater Manchester. So the competition is heavy. Then I suddenly realized that like I don't want to be like so constricted by like other developers and getting in quick and having to do things savvy. I wanted to do something different. So that's how I came across this. Again, not rushing anything. That's how I came across this creative investing stuff. I went to an event in Manchester, probably about July-ish time. And I came across stuff like lease options and like assisted sales. And I realized that I don't have a pot of cash myself, whilst the property is there bringing money in. You're not rich after the first one, right? It's a long game. So I was like, okay, I need to keep going. I've done it once, let's keep going. So for this year, I've literally been figuring it out, still doing content, interviewing other developers, still trying to be present, learning from people, but not rushing because I realized that, again, it's going to happen. When it's meant to happen, it will happen. So the job kept me busy, been self-employed for most of it more recently, where I'm managing this guy's portfolio. And only recently, last few months, have I got the next deal, which is going through at the minute. So yeah, it's been a bit of a up and down year, but I'm still happy it's ending in a positive. So
talk more about the creative deal strategies, because obviously there's various strategies you mentioned there, like assisted sales, lease options, etc.
So I think I'm gravitating towards this side of investing for a couple reasons. One, not many people are doing it. Two, because of that, they're not doing it because it's difficult. When I say it's difficult, it's time consuming because it's all about rapport and it's all about finding and working people that are motivated. So with motivation, you need patience. So when I say motivated, I mean like someone is, what's the word? I'm trying to use the word other than motivated. Is
Incentivized.
Desperate,
Or
incentivized,
to do something.
Like they've got something behind them that is making them want to move to somewhere else, right? So motivation could be negative equity. The bank, the value's not in the house. The bank is going to repossess the house. They've lost their job. They're ill. They just can't afford it no more. Divorce. 2 people want to go separate ways. Probate. Tied landlords. They've got this property. It's got so much defects. They don't have the money to do it, or they just want to change. Yeah. So I now have learned how to spot these situations by asking questions, and obviously I'm getting trained and coached from it. And I realized that whilst there's a lot of people that want to sell their properties online via estate agent, there's probably the equal amount of people who don't like estate agents, don't want their neighbors to know, and just want something quiet and quick. So in terms of strategies, assisted sales, where you kind of partner with the homeowner, add value to their property, which you pay for, and then you sell it for profit. You can keep all the profit. You can do a percentage split. It's whatever you negotiate. You have lease options where it's basically rent to rent with the option to buy at the end. Yeah. When I was taught it that way, I was like, that makes sense. Like lease with the option, if that's the term, right? But people find it hard to get rent to rents. But if you have got rent to rents, which you boys have, it's just basically saying, can I buy it from you 5 years? And if you agree a price now, and the person might not be thinking to sell it in 5 years, but they're like, I'll take that price. Why not? So then there's another one where it's like assisted sales, but you JV with a builder. So basically, let's say, Ross, your house needs doing. I'm going to buy it from you, but I'm going to delay the completion. I'm going to JV with a builder and say, hey, there's 50K profit in this house once the work is done. Can you pay for the build? And I'll give you a percentage of the profit once it sells. Again, it's all creative stuff, right? These are all strategies that I'm leveraging towards because I'm at a position, whilst I can raise finance, I don't want to have to raise 100K, 150K. I'd rather just raise 30, 20K to do a kitchen or a house. So I think my position, my life is leading me towards certain strategies. Those are the three I would say that I'm focusing on right now. And in order to do them, you need to get direct to vendor, direct to the owner of the properties, figure out what the hell's happening, what is their motivation, build rapport, which is so powerful and people don't talk about enough, to then get what you want. Negotiation is allowing someone else, is getting what you want from someone, but your way. And the good thing about what I'm doing is with lease options, it's not unethical. I'm genuinely helping someone that genuinely needs help, and it's a win-win. And as long as you make it a win-win, they're not going to come to you further down the line when it's about to complete saying, oh, by the way, I don't want to do it anymore. Like, you're the only option, and you're giving them better than they would get from anyone else. Look after them, scratch their back, they scratch yours. So that's the word I'm in. I'm not going to anything else. And I think my mindset before was I was looking at every house as, how can this be a HMO? I was saying this to you, Ross. Now, my every single transaction is, can this be a lease option to acquire? And then what strategy am I applying to cash flow? So is it a buy-to-let? Is it service accommodation? Is it HMO? As opposed to everything just HMO. And that change in mindset, I feel like is going to get me more from this space.
I love that. I feel like even more recently, I actually put a post, I think it was earlier this week, on my Instagram story, innit? Because we had a landlord that we've been working with for like 5 years. He's got a lot of money. And I remember I just randomly, because I know them, I went on their I was basically just looking at their balance sheet, and I was like, this guy's got a lot of money on his balance sheet. And it's that question you ask, like what you talked about with Waitrose. A follow-up question is there anything else that I can help you with? But it's the same question you can ask a landlord through rent to rent or a lease option. Is like, would you be looking to sell, or are you still investing?
Yeah.
Right? Do you have capital to invest? And it's so funny because this isn't a landlord that you often speak to on the phone. He's someone that tends to email. But I had a conversation with him in person. We spoke about it. And then we followed up again, and we had another conversation in person. He literally messaged me. I showed Ross that day. Later that day, he says, Andrew, I have a large sum of cash to invest in property. Just like that. And it's because we asked the question. But if I didn't ask the question, I would never know that. So there's so much opportunities that come through just going directly to the vendors.
Open your mouth.
Exactly.
100%.
Yeah, it's true. It's powerful.
I think one thing I'd kind of point out as well is, I even said it on the previous pod, but property is a people's business, right? So the better you are at communicating, I guess, what you want, there's deals everywhere, really. But for people, because I guess, these terms, they're not widely spoken about. Obviously, you've broken them down. But what would a assisted sale or a lease option deal look like if someone was to break it down? Like from their first inception. And obviously I don't want you to spill your sauce in terms of how you find direct to vendor. But again, what does that look like?
Okay, so I'll make a fake case study. So let's call it an assisted sale, yeah? So you're going to add value to someone's property and you're going to make money from it, yeah? Let's keep numbers whole. So if a property is on the market for 100K, yeah? Obviously in the north somewhere. If you check that property and houses on the same street are selling for 200 to like 170 to 200, you automatically think, okay, why is this house selling for 100K? Yeah. Manage to get close to the vendor and you realize they're happy to take this price because they know the property needs work doing to it. They might not even know that. They just know that the house isn't top spec, so they're willing to take more to get it gone. If that same property was up with an estate agent, they probably would list it at, let's say, the 150 mark, right? Because they want to push it closer and they want first-time buyers who are going to put so much money on it and making their home, and they don't care about the profit. Whereas when you're working with someone direct, you realize that, for example, case study, let's say his wife is very ill and she's in London and he doesn't want to be in Liverpool no more where the house is, and he just wants to be in London with his wife. And this house is causing him stress. He can probably get 130, but he will just take 100 because he doesn't need the money. And he's got, like you said, loads of other properties. So that 30K, he'll make it somewhere else. So in that situation, I say, all right, whatever his name is, I'm going to take control of a property from you based on your situation. And I'm going to do some work to property, but I think it can be worth X at the other time. Can we agree today, 120? He was ready to accept 100K, right? You giving him 20K more than he's ready, but I'm going to take it off you in 4 to 6 weeks. Yeah, through the paperwork, lease, agreed. You then, with a builder, either spend, let's say, 2 to 4 weeks, new kitchen, new bathroom, new flooring, you do the front landscaping, whatever. People now, and then you stage it, people then see the potential of the house. It's now near the top spec, and you've agreed 120 with him, but then you sell it 180. You can keep the difference. It's very hard to find these. I'm not saying it's easy, but they're out there.
Yeah.
So if you're hunting for these specific deals, that's a great strategy that someone that is starting out, who doesn't have the capital, you can find 20K from a dad, uncle, mum, whatever. But to raise 100K is different.
It's different, yeah.
So that's just one case study that I feel like people are not talking about enough. Everyone wants the shiny stuff, the SA, the HMO, the development, the land stuff, but you can rent to rent or lease option a property and cash flow from early, like from property that's not yours. And you have the option to buy it in a few years when it's probably gone up capital appreciation wise. So it's gold for me.
You're essentially providing value to, or a solution to the vendor, right, in that situation. Because sometimes when you hear property, especially in the UK and maybe even the current climate, it gets like a bad rep. It's like, oh, landlords. You know, you post something on TikTok, someone might sublet it. What are you doing? You know, but they don't realize you're actually, as a business, the whole point of a business is to provide a solution to a problem. So if someone has an issue, there's your solution. Your solution you're providing is quite creative. It's not the common one they will hear. The estate agent's also providing a solution. Yeah. It's just whether it's the right one for them. But you're going out and finding a motivated seller that needs a solution, and typically they need one quite soon, and it doesn't require you to come in with so much capital.
Literally. Yeah. And another thing is, because where you're building rapport, I'm completely transparent that in order for this to work, I need to make money from the house. But I'm also going to make sure it takes the stress off of you. So the one I'm going through now, we told him, we're going to put on Airbnb. We're going to make a more than we're paying you. But he's going to Japan and he doesn't have to worry about the house, and we're giving him income. His mortgage is paid off. He hasn't been able to sell the house. Now he's suddenly gone from the house costing him to now the house is earning money for him. So he's like, what? Like, how? But in America, lease options apparently is common. Like, it's what they do over there. But in the UK, we're just behind and everything, right? So yeah, lease options is new to a lot of people. Estate agents won't pretty much do it.
It's a win-win.
I love lease options anyway. Like we put in all our agreements now when we speak to landlords.
Yeah,
like it's just a no-brainer.
You have to, especially rent to rent. It's like you're leaving money on the table.
Plus, you're also incentivized to do something to the house, because the whole point of a rent to rent is, if it's a straight out rent to rent, I am not putting 20, 30K into your home and then you build the equity, and then 5 years later you just I give you back the keys and walk away. There's now an incentive for me to actually put money into the home, raise the value, and then potentially take that later. So, yeah.
What's your direct to vendor strategy?
So there's loads of different ways. I think I'm pivoting like through whilst I'm doing it because I'm pretty new to doing this. I've only been doing it for the last, let's say, 4 months or so, I'll say. I found mine that I'm going through now with a letter. But he sat on the letter for 2 months probably. And then all of a sudden, I think when he was stressed, he just went through his options and that was one of the options. So what I'm about to start trying, and I'm tinkering with it in a minute, is Facebook ads. Because I realized in my approach right now is properties oldest listed, either speaking to the estate agent to get some background on, is the house occupied? Why is the owner selling? If I hear motivation, I'll then probably send a letter to the house or download a title register to send it to whatever address is on there. But then I realized I'm doing this property by property and it's time and I need more like leverage. So Facebook ads, I know some people in the space getting great leads from that and it allows people to come to me. Yes, there's an element of filtering through nonsense, but I think that's an easier way to bring potential leads in. So that's one thing I'm about to start. The other is that leaflet. So I've been putting up leaflets in places where people are often to frequent. So think post offices, petrol stations, because whilst I'm not putting them through letterboxes, if you're stressed out and you are driving and you literally on your phone, you look up at the door and you see need to sell your house, you might just call me. Like, it's free. The guys in the windows, shops usually let me do it for free.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to use creative things. I still do letters, but I find that the ROI on letters isn't always as good as I want it to be. It's quite expensive. So I'm just going to try and focus on Facebook ads and go crazy with them. But yeah, that's just what I'm doing now.
And letters, I've got a good strategy that'll probably work.
Yeah, letters, we can talk about offline, don't worry.
Cool. I guess then moving over to like, this is property, this is where you are now, these are the strategies you're focusing on. Personal brand is obviously something we always talk about with everybody because that's also an asset that you're building alongside your business. So we spoke about it earlier about it can be a bit cringe and so on, but
Yeah.
looking at it now, what sort of impact has personal brand had on your property journey?
It's been massive. It's been massive because if you don't put yourself out there, opportunities are harder to come to you. Simple as you work from home, you might be in a coffee shop, and the person next to you could end up being your business partner. But because you just took yourself out of your house to do so, opportunities arise. Same thing with content. At the beginning, I've never had a YouTube channel before. It wasn't something I ever thought about. I just decided that I'm doing something which is hopefully going to be the first of many. What better time to document? I bought my Osmo Pocket to myself as a present, and I said, I'm just going to do content. And the project in Manchester gave me something to talk about, and I found it hard to make content without that, but that helped me find my voice. My first few videos, if anyone went back and watched it, I don't feel like I sound like me, but I feel like the more I've done it and got the reps in, I'm finding my voice and I'm figuring out a bit more about my character. Because again, through doing therapy, you realize that you probably a lot of us don't actually know ourselves. And through being asked questions, through seeing myself, I'm learning, okay, I'm actually this way and I'm actually not that way. And I actually like doing this and I don't like doing that. So putting myself out there has allowed me to meet people today I consider friends. It's got me my client I'm working with at the minute. It's helped me raise finance. I was in Croydon 2 weeks ago. Someone stopped me, Kelvin. I was thinking, what? Like, I've just got like 100. I just got 1,000 subs. It's like I'm not even doing anything crazy. Yeah. It's like, watch your videos. No, man. You could call them, swap numbers. We're friends now. Like, and I'm not one of them guys that's like, no new friends. You know that Drake rubbish song. I want to build.
That's such terrible advice.
Like, let's make friends. And not just property. Let's connect. Like, I want to hear about your door. I want to hear let's level, because COVID taught me it's a lonely place. People live alone. single, not single, everyone's just going through their own thing. So if we can come together and play paddle or go and get some food or just be that voice or shoulder to lean on, let's do it. But I've loved the content thing. I've loved it, and I can't wait to just show more. I'm not doing enough, to be honest.
It's such a good networking. Oh no, I'm saying it's so good for networking in general as well, because if you meet someone now today, the old school way would be you meet them and the next time you're going to kind of pour into that relationship is if you follow up with a phone call or, you know, you meet up with them physically. But the way of leveraging that relationship is if you now have, you know, content that you put online and you're sharing that, someone might just follow you on Instagram and now they're checking into your content and then they're going to feel like they know you so much more. Like I felt like I know you. And this is the first time we're meeting physically.
Yeah,
in person,
it's crazy. It's crazy.
I feel like I know you more.
Yeah,
just through the content that you've put online,
100%.
and that just shows leverage, right? In terms of what
it's funny. It's funny you say that because when it comes back to raising finance, people usually have a certain amount of touch points before they decide to do business with you, right? We all know about know, like, and trust, but the know is part of seeing you online. So someone can meet Ross at a networking event, watch his content, be like, "No, I'm like Ross. Like he's motivating me. Like he's inspiring me." And then they're Team Ross. They're in your kind of network audience. Yeah. But if they didn't have that content piece, they don't know they didn't like you, and it's just they have to eventually figure it out. Life gets to life. You might not reconnect. So it's wild. It's wild.
Yeah. Now, content's so powerful. I think when I still see TikTok, that's kind of why I don't like TikTok, because TikTok is just full of like burner accounts.
Yeah. There's so many burner accounts.
Like people like no DPs, but I guess obviously each to their own. But I think in terms of showcasing the world that we live in today, so powerful, man. Yeah.
Personal development and like mindset as well. You know, what's that journey been like? Because obviously you spoke about mentorship prior to getting involved, but even ongoing, because I don't think personal development is something like you don't just do one course or do one thing and it stops there, in my opinion anyway. But what's that been?
I feel like I'm always someone that wants to keep learning and growing. So I've not been reading audiobooks more recently, but previous years I was heavy on property YouTube. I've got a separate account on my YouTube that's just for property, and I don't watch rubbish on there. I only want my algorithm to show me property entrepreneurs, anyone doing content. I'm subscribed because I find so much inspiration from the boys and girls in our space doing what they do. Like if someone can buy a mansion from nothing, inspired. Like if someone builds land developments, I've got no enemies in the space. I only want to like help people up and say, listen, you're doing big things. When it comes to like mindset, I feel like I, throughout my journey, have lent on mentors. At the minute, I've got a mentor for 12 months, and it's probably the most beneficial I found it, because I'm at the space now where I'm like hungry to grow, and the guy I'm working with is very good at seeing that and working to that. And I've always said that if you have, let's say, pots that you put your money into in a month, there should always be a pot for like self-development. And even if there's nothing specific that you want to do, spend the money on something like this Skillshare. Like you can learn to bloody edit on CapCut on Skillshare, the University of YouTube, which is free. That's what I call it, University of YouTube. There's loads of stuff. So if it's not Stephen Bartlett's Diary CEO interviews, it's like Joe Rogan. There's loads of stuff I take in, but it's forever. It's not gonna stop. I'm in a gym, listen to podcasts, I read books, whatever. Like I pass things on. It's so important. It's so important.
I think it also then shapes who you even want to be around, because the type of conversations you have. Like, while this is literally just a conversation being recorded. That's the best way you can look at it. But that would only happen if you have a certain type of mindset as well. So I'm very big on it.
Another thing that's slept on is I'm reading a book at the minute called The Artist's Way. Have you guys heard about it?
No. Who's that by?
I forgot the lady's name, but it's basically very big amongst creatives, like musicians, singers, a lot of celebrities. I've read the book. Long story short, it's a 12-week course. You read the book every single day. And one of the powerful things in the book is she motivates everyone to do something called the morning pages. So the morning pages is you journal freehand, 3 pages every single morning. And it's just a brain dump, yeah? What's going through your mind, what you're stressed about, what you're happy about, whatever. And in the book, there's also exercises and tasks to go and do. So one of them is like a solo date. So it's basically like you're dating your creative self, and you take yourselves to places that will guide and inspire your creativity. And it helps people that are like struggling artists get back to like creating and doing that. Reason I bring that up is I found from journaling, something I've never really done, there's so much in our brains that we don't actually know is there, that when you journal, your mind just takes you off. And if I was to give you 2 pieces of paper right now, just a freehand, the stuff that you will reel back to me and be like, whoa, if you do this every single day, it just feels like relief, and you have like a release off of you. So definitely something I would recommend. Like, productivity is good, like mindset is good, but like being aware of what's in your head as well. Like,
yeah, one big thing I always talk about is like my think days. I'll take a day a month, maybe 2 days a month, where I just literally block everything out,
just lock in,
and just think. Even more recently, what I've been doing is walks.
Yeah.
But walks with no headphones in. Maybe I might listen to a podcast, but generally I'll just walk. And you'll be surprised how much goes through your mind. And then I just capture it as I'm walking.
Yeah,
making sure that I'm not on any apps, just so that it's another way of journaling. Because I journal quite often, but I go through phases where I journal a lot and then I don't journal.
Yeah.
And it made me even realize like how much I don't write anymore. Do you know what I mean? Like you don't do freehand writing. I'm
literally,
like,
typing,
yeah.
Literally,
It starts
the muscles not.
It's not used to
clicking,
it anymore, like how you were as a child. So yeah, definitely agree with that.
Yeah, for sure. What I've been doing as well though, is actually talking. Do you guys still type with ChatGPT, or do you talk to ChatGPT?
It's funny. I mainly type, but I do dictate sometimes.
But not even dictating in terms of like Apple dictating, but the actual like talk.
No, so yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I mean. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, no, I noticed doing that and actually just spreading your thoughts more when it comes from your head.
Yeah.
Like,
It's better.
Yeah, and also you talk quicker rather than typing. So I've only started doing that recently, but I've noticed the benefits from it just in terms of getting ideas and the stuff that's in my head. Out actually into the physical world.
Powerful, that is.
Yeah. So Whisper is a really good tool that I use, like when it comes to even just sending emails, even for campaigns, or just using AI tools like ChatGPT, Claude. I definitely recommend that. So
I'll check it out. I've never heard of it, but I'm always open to that. New recommendations.
Cool, man. So I guess future plans, what's the focus maybe over the next 12 to 24 months?
So I'm trying to get back on like regular uploads to YouTube. I've realized that I'm doing something that people might find some interest in. One thing I've been able to do is, whilst I'm not uploading, I'm still capturing, and like I've got loads of files. So I need to kind of go through those, make stories, and see how it's worth putting it up online. So doing that, and I'm more documenting. So it's literally just trying to get more of these deals. I've just secured the next deal, which is literally going through the final stages of conveyancing now. So I'll be showing people what that is, talking the numbers, showing the actual proof. And I've got another one in waiting to hear back from the vendor. So just trying to be more of someone that is the go-to in this space, and just honing in on that. Just showing everyone what's possible. Yeah, so if anyone wants to kind of reach out, have a chat, happy to do so, whatever.
Cool, man.
And where can someone find you?
So I've done a good job of just keeping everything my name, because I feel like if I've got this and got somewhere else. So just Kelvin Sillah, K and S on all platforms. You should hopefully find me. I think I'm on everything, although more prominent on YouTube, I'll say.
Yeah.
But I'm on the rest of the stuff as well. So yeah.
Oh, that's dope, man. But look, pleasure having you on board, man. It's been a great conversation.
Yeah, it's been a good chat.
Definitely going to be more. I'm looking forward to seeing the journey as well.
Yeah. Thank you very much, man. I
Thank
appreciate
you
coming down. Cool. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe.
Yeah.